Story 1. My name is Ryan, mid-20s, still raw from walking in on my fiancé tangled up with my best friend from the office. I threw clothes into a duffel, slammed the apartment door, and drove until the city lights faded into empty highway. I chose the Desert Rose Inn on the outskirts of Reno, Nevada, not the cheapest, but the one with working security cameras and enough floodlights to discourage thieves. I paid for 7 nights up front, asked the clerk where the nearest liquor store was, and bought 2 bottles of cheap whiskey. That first night I drowned the betrayal in liquor until the room spun. Morning brought a vicious hangover. I vomited most of it into the sink and swore off drinking forever. I forced down a greasy double cheeseburger at a nearby diner, returned to the room, and collapsed into uneasy sleep. Around 9 p.m., I jolted awake, head pounding, throat dry. A long, hot shower helped wash away the fog. I dressed in yesterday's jeans and a hoodie, planning a quiet night of cable TV and maybe delivery if the night clerk knew anyone who drove this far out. Then the shouting started, sharp, desperate, echoing across the parking lot like a siren. I parted the thin curtains. Under the sodium light stood a woman, maybe 30, dark curls plastered to her sweat-slicked face, denim jacket half unzipped over a gray tank top, sneakers scuffed from running. She was screaming at the front desk clerk, hands waving wildly. I couldn't catch the words at first, but curiosity pulled me outside onto the metal walkway, cigarette in hand, pretending to stare at the stars. "You have to listen. We're all going to die if we stay here. Get them out, now." The clerk, a skinny guy named Marcus, kept repeating, "Ma'am, calm down. I'll call the authorities." But she shook her head violently. "Authorities? They'll walk right into it and die too. Everyone has to leave this second." Her voice cracked with genuine terror, not theatrics. I felt it crawl up my spine, that primal certainty that something awful was seconds away. Other guests emerged, a father carrying a toddler, a couple in matching pajamas, an elderly man clutching his cane. Kids started crying. Parents hissed at them to hush. Someone on the upper level yelled, "Just phone the damn police already!" The woman's eyes darted everywhere, wide and glassy. "Don't you understand? It's already too late if we wait." Her fear was airborne, spreading like smoke. My pulse hammered in my ears. What if she wasn't delusional? What if some gang, some cult, some nightmare was rolling in right now? Marcus tried to soothe the growing crowd. "Everything's under control, folks. Go back inside." That phrase snapped something in her. She lunged forward, grabbed his wrist, yanked it toward her mouth, and bit down with animal force. Blood welled instantly. Marcus howled, staggering back. Gasps rippled through the onlookers. A mother dragged her children inside and slammed the door. I froze, cigarette forgotten, ash falling onto my shoe. The woman released Marcus, who stumbled toward the office, clutching his arm. She kept shouting, voice hoarse, "You're all going to die here." Then the manager burst out, a burly man in his 50s holding a revolver steady. "Cops are on the way. Leave now or I'll make you." She froze at the sight of the gun, backing up slowly, eyes locked on the barrel. Then she spotted a young couple on the second-floor balcony, the wife cradling an infant. She bolted for the stairs, pleading, "Give me the baby. At least save the child. It doesn't have to die too." The father stepped in front, blocking her path. She swung wildly. He shoved hard. She tumbled down 3 steps, landed hard, scrambled up again. Sirens wailed in the distance. 2 patrol cars screeched into the lot. The manager lowered his weapon, hands up. One officer secured the gun while the other approached the woman. For a heartbeat, she looked hopeful, like rescue had arrived. Then the officer said something about taking her in for evaluation. Her scream rose to a shattering pitch. Why won't anyone listen? "You're killing us all!" She charged the officer, teeth bared like she meant to bite again. He drew a bright yellow taser without hesitation. The probes hit. Her body seized mid-stride, rigid, then crumpled face first onto asphalt with a sickening crack. She lay still as they cuffed her. Paramedics arrived soon after, wrapping her bloodied face, loading her onto a stretcher. The manager walked the lot, pleading with guests not to leave, promising it was over. I went inside, grabbed my keys, drove to the diner for fries and a chocolate shake. No killers arrived, no massacre, just one broken woman who believed the end was seconds away. But the echo of her certainty lingered in my chest for weeks. Sometimes I still wake up wondering if she saw something the rest of us missed, and if one day the rest of us will see it too. Story 2. What if the most terrifying night of your life began with a simple knock at 10 p.m. and the monster didn't break in? He politely asked to be invited, then refused to leave until your 6-year-old son handed over the one thing that could save you all. My name is Ellen. My husband Tom and I had driven our 2 children, 7-year-old Lucas and 5-year-old Sophie, all the way from Ohio to visit Tom's family in coastal Delaware. Exhausted after 12 hours on the road, we chose the upscale Seaside Haven Motel near Rehoboth Beach. Clean carpets, friendly staff, a pool the kids never got to use. We unpacked, ate grilled shrimp at a nearby tavern, returned by 9:30 p.m. Tom brushed his teeth while I read a compromised bedtime story about brave cowboys and clever princesses. A sharp knock interrupted the tale. Tom answered, expecting maintenance. Instead, 4 strangers stood in the doorway, 3 athletic men in dark tracksuits, deeply tanned, muscles coiled like springs, and an older gentleman, thin, silver-haired, impeccably dressed in a tailored blazer, who spoke first. "Forgive the intrusion so late. My nephews and I need a moment of your time. May we step inside?" Tom declined politely. "Long drive tomorrow. Kids asleep soon." The older man nodded understandingly, then insisted. When Tom refused again, the man gave a small signal. One nephew produced a compact black pistol, holding it low against his leg. "Tonight," the older man said softly, "I'm afraid we must insist." Terror flooded my veins like ice water. I whispered to Lucas, "Take Sophie into the bathroom. Grown-up talk. Stay there with a pillow until I call you." Lucas, sensing the shift, obeyed without argument, leading his sister away and closing the door. The men entered. The older one sat in the armchair, accepted a light for his cigarette from a nephew, exhaled slowly. Lovely room, comfortable. Tom's voice shook with fury. "What do you want?" The man smiled thinly. "A compromise. We stayed here last night. In my age, memory fails. I left something valuable behind, something housekeeping wouldn't dare touch. You're the next occupants. It must be here." I spoke up, voice steadier than I felt. "We found nothing. Tell us what it is." He gestured to the nightstand beside me. I opened the drawer, empty. The nephew with the gun twitched toward me. The older man waved him off. "As expected, so one of you has it. Return it, and we leave quietly. Refuse, and things become unpleasant." My mind raced. Extortion scam. But when I accused him, he chuckled. "No scam, just property. A ring. Gold band, large ruby center, diamond halo. In your son's pocket, perhaps." Tom's face drained of color. The man ordered the children out. Threats followed. Quiet compliance or the door gets kicked in. I called softly. Lucas emerged holding Sophie's hand, both wide-eyed, trembling but not crying yet. The older man softened his tone, like a kindly grandfather. "No need to fear, little ones. Did you find anything shiny while playing?" They shook their heads. He asked again, gently threatening lies. Still no. I snapped, "You're the one making this impossible." His smile vanished. He stubbed the cigarette, leaned forward. Will my nephew have to demonstrate pain in front of your children? Sophie whimpered. Please don't shoot Mommy and Daddy. The man sighed theatrically. I don't want to, but your parents took what's mine. Tom growled a warning. The gun swung toward him. Then Lucas reached into his pajama pocket and pulled out the ring. Gleaming, heavy, unmistakable. He held it up silently. Relief crashed over Tom and me like a wave. The older man laughed, delighted. See? Still works after all these years. He beckoned Lucas forward. The boy placed the ring in the outstretched palm. The man caught Lucas's wrist, pulled him close. Stealing isn't the sin. Stealing from me is. He patted the boy's cheek. Brave kid. Reminds me of myself once. He released him, told him to hush his sobbing sister, then stood. No grudges. Forget we were here. They left. Tom and I rushed to the children, holding them tight. Lucas was devastated. He'd pocketed the ring thinking it was treasure, afraid to confess. I explained stealing was wrong, but those men were dangerous regardless. Fear kept us from sleeping. We loaded the car and drove through the night to Tom's parents' house, arriving at dawn. The grandparents listened, horrified, and hugged the kids until sunrise. I still wake sometimes hearing that polite knock, seeing my son's small hand offering the ring that bought our lives. I wonder how many other families, in how many rooms, faced the same quiet terror and handed over whatever was asked. Story 3. You think you're doing the right thing, protecting a stranger from danger, until you realize your good deed drew the monster directly to her door, and now her blood is on your conscience forever. My name is Mia. Back in my junior year of college, I drove the long haul from Arizona State back to my parents' house in Oregon for winter break. I always stopped at the same budget motel in southern Idaho. Starlight Courts, a classic mid-century L shape with peeling turquoise paint, humming neon vacancy sign. Rooms opening straight onto the lot. Cheap, clean enough, exactly 10 hours from campus. I checked in, parked nose in, tossed my backpack inside. As I locked the car, a woman, 30s, hurried, staring at her phone, slammed shoulder first into me. Before I could apologize, she snarled, "Watch where you're standing, idiot!" and stormed into the room next door. I rolled my eyes, amused at the rudeness, glad it was only one night. I drove to the familiar drive-through chicken place down the road, ordered a sandwich and sweet tea. In the parking lot, a man in his late 30s approached, voice calm but urgent. "Excuse me, can you help? My wife's missing. Her parents died in a crash last week. She snapped, said she was going to find them, drove off. I'm terrified she'll hurt herself." He showed a photo on his phone. My stomach dropped. It was the rude woman from the motel. The man looked desperate, eyes red-rimmed. But something felt rehearsed. The story too neat, the delivery too practiced. Memories flashed of my high school friend stalked by an ex who manipulated friends for information. I swallowed. "I'm sorry. No, haven't seen her. But here's my number. If I spot anyone matching, I'll call." I took his number, wished him luck, drove back. Guilt gnawed, but caution won. At the motel, I hesitated, then knocked on the neighboring door. Curtains twitched. "What?" the woman snapped. I asked through the door if her parents had died recently. A pause. "No, Dad passed years ago. Mom's fine." I explained the man, the photo. Her face appeared in the crack, pale, terrified. "Please, come in." Inside, the woman, Claire, thanked me with shaking hands. She'd fled an abusive marriage that escalated from slaps to strangling threats. She escaped with a suitcase while he worked, thinking she'd disappear. I admitted lying to the man. Claire nearly wept with relief. We talked quietly. She warned me not to get further involved. I returned to my room feeling I'd done something genuinely good, until 2 a.m. when a crash jolted me awake. Then another from next door. Screams. I dialed 911 on speaker, yanked on jeans, burst outside. The man from the chicken place had Claire by the arm, dragging her limp body toward a black pickup. Her face was swollen, one eye shut, legs scraped raw on gravel. I screamed for help. Motel guests emerged. A burly man in pajama bottoms charged, yelling to let go. Others joined. One shoved the attacker hard. He released Claire, jumped in the truck, and sped off. Police and ambulance arrived. Claire was conscious but battered. I stood frozen, realization hitting like a punch. He must have seen the flicker of recognition when he showed the photo, or sensed the lie, then followed me back, watched me knock on Claire's door. I'd let him right there. Guilt crushed me. I couldn't face Claire. Morning came. I packed silently, avoided the manager's eyes, drove away. Years later, the memory still wakes me. The drag marks on gravel, Claire's swollen face, the knowledge that trying to help had made everything worse. Sometimes kindness is the deadliest mistake of all.